Hello children, today I am here with a new chapter of Indian Economic Development, that is part B of class 12, chapter number 3, Liberalization, Privatization and Globalization. Students, we all know that prior to 1990, though number of 5-year plans were made by the government, but India could not achieve the objective of rapid economic growth. So in the year 1991, some economic reforms were made by the government, which were popularly known as or that policy was known as New Economic Policy 1991, and the three important policies under it were liberalization, privatization and globalization. So let us see what is the meaning of this liberalization, privatization and globalization, and what was the impact of this policy over the economic growth of our country. So let us start this chapter. So first of all, we have to understand what is the meaning of economic reforms. So actually, as I already told you, that prior to 1990, the India could not achieve its objective of rapid economic growth. So government planned to bring some economic reforms, and it introduced some policies like liberalization, privatization and globalization to speed up the economic growth of the country, along with increase in production and productivity, and also to make Indian market a very competitive market. So here some of the factors which were behind the introduction of these economic reforms are given here. Why the government planned to have this economic reforms in our country. So those factors are, in short, I am going to read for you. Fall in foreign exchange reserve. India's foreign exchange reserve was continuously falling. The reason was our imports were more as compared to the exports. So we were importing more and more of the foreign goods because we were lacking the proper industrialization in our country. So imports were more and exports were less. So because of that, the payments were higher from India side. Second, adverse balance of payment. Adverse balance of payment means there was deficit in balance of payment, means our payment obligations were more because imports were in excess of export. Then increasing fiscal deficit. So the government, the public sectors which were there, they were not generating good amount of profit. So the government was failing to generate revenue, but they had to spend more and more money on the public welfare. So government's expenditure were much higher as compared to the revenue generated by them, and that resulted in mounting up of this fiscal deficit. Next, it is rise in prices. Now since the goods were imported from other countries, because of the high tax and taxes and the tariffs, the price of those goods were high in our country, and the people could not save more money because most of their income was spent on the consumption of those high priced goods. So investment, it also affected the investment, because investment is the result of savings, and saving is the result of income. If we will have more income, we are able to save more, and that results in the investment process. So investment cannot increase in our country due to rise in the prices of various goods and services. Failure of public sector enterprises. So there were number of industries which were reserved for the public sector, and these industries, most of these industries were in loss. The amount of return which they generated on investment, that was too low. So this public enterprises, they had very low return on high investment. Then next, it is Gulf crisis. Gulf crisis, it actually means the war between Iran and Iraq, and because of that there was increase in the price of crude oil, and which had adverse effect over the balance of payment of our country. Next factor responsible for economic reforms is high rate of deficit financing. The government has to circulate more currency in order to meet the financial liabilities of the country. And the last one, it is collapse of Soviet bloc. Now let us understand what is this new economic policy. So as in the beginning I have told that prior to 1991 the India was not able to achieve rapid economic growth. So a new policy was introduced in the year 1991 to improve the productivity and profitability of the company and make our country or our industries globally competitive. So that policy we call it as the new economic policy. Now there were certain measures of this new economic policy. These measures are categorized in two types: stabilization measures and structural measures or the adjustment. So let us understand what is this stabilization measures. Actually these are the short term or short run measures which were introduced by the government to control the price or to have a check over the adverse balance of payment, and also the foreign exchange was of our country was falling. To control all these things, some short term measures were taken by the government. Those measures we call it as the stabilization method. Next it is structural adjustment of the measures. So these are the long term policies, and its aim was to improve the efficiency of the economy or to have a greater or increase in the rate of economic growth rate, increase in the economic growth rate and make India competitive at international level. Now under this new economic policy 1991, three important policies were introduced by the government, and in short we call it as LPG. L stands for liberalization, P stands for privatization, and G for globalization. Let us understand these policies one by one. Liberalization, from the word itself it is very clear, to give more freedom. So prior to 1991 there were number of unnecessary restrictions over the private sector. Like for every business they had to secure or they have to get license from the government. Without government permission they were not allowed to get into any form of industry. So the government adopted this policy of liberalization, and according to this policy or it means removing all unnecessary control and restrictions from the or which were imposed over the private sector. Or we can say, in other words, we can say that loosening of government regulation in a country to allow for private sector companies to operate business transactions with very less restrictions. So here the basic thing is that to remove all unnecessary control and restriction from the private sector. Now some basic objectives behind liberalization are given here. First, to decrease this debt burden of the country, because country was in debt and public sector were in losses. So the government planned to give more freedom to the private sector so that they can increase the production and our debt burden could reduce. Then to expand the size of market. The market can expand up to international level only when the private sectors are promoted or more freedom is given to the private sector, because prior to this reforms the private sector was restricted to expand their business. The private sector was restricted to increase the production. So all these things contracted the size of Indian market. Indian market was confined to India itself. But because of liberalization, now private sector got more freedom to expand their business or to increase the production. So that we call to expand the size of market. Next objective behind liberalization is to increase the competition among domestic industries. When more and more private sectors will come up, they will definitely have a competition, and the level of competition among the domestic industries will also improve. Next, to encourage the export and import of goods and services. Now, as we all know that our exports were less and imports were more. So the government thought of increasing the export of our country along with the imports. So if more and more liberty is given to the private sector, they are allowed to expand their business, they are allowed to increase the production, definitely it is going to increase the export of our country. And also the import of the various goods like machinery which are required to produce various types of good, that will also increase in the country. So these were some of the basic objectives behind liberalization. Now let us talk about what economic reforms were under this liberalization. First one, it is given here, industrial sector reforms. So in industries, what sort of reforms undertook through liberalization? First point is given, abolition of industrial licensing. Prior to 1991, many private sectors had to get permission from the government to start a firm or to increase the production. So this particular restriction was abolished by the government. Second, contraction of public sector. It means to decrease the role of public sector. Prior to this 1991, private sector was not allowed to set up or not allowed in many types of industries, as there was strict control of the government exercised by the government, and the number of industries which were reserved for the public sector, they were 17. So this number of industries, they were reduced from 17 to 3. Only 3 industries were reserved for the public sector. Rest all the types of industries were opened for the private sector. Freedom to import capital goods. Now prior to 1991, there were restriction on import of certain industrial goods, means the capital goods. But after the coming of this liberalization or this policy, more freedom was provided to import capital goods and technology from abroad in order to develop the infrastructure of our country. Then price determination by market forces. Here market forces refers to the demand and supply aspect. Now before 1991, every time I have to repeat this, prior to 1991, because we are talking about these reforms which were introduced in the year 1991. So prior to 1991, there were control on price fixation by the industry as per the directions given by the government. But after the introduction of this liberalization policy, the prices were determined by the market forces, that means the suppliers and the consumers. Now some financial sector reforms let us discuss about. First, it is reducing various ratios. Some of these ratios like SLR, statutory liquidity ratio, and CRR, cash reserve ratio, they were lowered down by the Reserve Bank of India. The reason is that if CRR or SLR, they are reduced, banks will have more funds with them to provide it to the business sector or the private sector in the form of loan, which will further help in the expansion of industries in our country. Second, establishment of private sector bank. Now before 1991, private sector banks were not encouraged because public sector was given more importance in the government policy. But after these reforms, number of private sector banks were established all over the country, and because of that, not only this Indian banks, foreign banks also were set up in the country, which increased the size of competition, and also the service provided by these banks, that also improved. Now change in the role of RBI from regulator to facilitator. So before 1991, RBI RBI's role was to regulate the various banks, or to make various rules and regulations for the bank, and the banks, they were forced to follow those rules and regulations. But RBI used to fix interest structure by its own. Also, commercial banks were supposed to consult RBI on all the types of financial matters. But when this new economic policy of liberalization was introduced, financial sectors was this role of this RBI was reduced from regulator to facilitator, which means now this financial sector will be allowed to take their own decision. They do not have to work on the decisions given by RBI. Now this private banks or the financial institutions can, or were given the power to take their own decisions on many of the financial matters without consulting RBI. Next financial reform, it is increase in foreign investment. Prior to 1991, the foreign investment in Indian financial market was restricted. But with this reforms, अब क्या है, now foreign investment limit in bank was raised to around 51%, and foreign institutional investors like merchant bankers, mutual funds and pension funds are now allowed to invest in Indian financial market under the guidelines of RBI. So these are the two reforms we have discussed till now: industrial sector reforms and financial sector reforms. The third one, it is fiscal reforms, or reforms in the taxes. So first point is given here: reduction in direct taxes. So we all know that what is the meaning of direct taxes. These are the taxes paid by the individual on whom they are imposed. So prior to 1991, there has been a continuous increase in the direct tax, that is the tax on income of individuals and profits of the business enterprises. Now when this economic reforms were introduced, it was felt that high rate of income tax was responsible for tax evasion. So many were not paying the tax. So it was now widely accepted that some moderate rate of income tax will be imposed upon the individuals and the private sector. Next, reform in indirect taxes. So earlier, or prior to 1991, there were so many complexities in this imposing of the indirect taxes and the recovery of such taxes. So after the introduction of this reforms, the government or the taxes which are levied to the commodities, some changes were made. Now this was initiated to facilitate the establishment of common national market for goods and services. Indirect taxes were also made liberal. Now simplification in tax paying procedure. So again, if we talk about before this economic reforms, the procedure to pay the tax, that was very complicated, and because it took long time period in order to complete the process of payment tax. So some changes were made through these reforms. The tax paying procedure was now more simplified. So these are the three important reforms under liberalization. And the fourth one, it is foreign exchange reforms. Let us talk about this foreign exchange reforms. Devaluation of Indian rupees. So devaluation means deliberately decreasing the value of Indian rupees in terms of US dollar or foreign currency. The reason behind this devaluation was to encourage more and more export, because if the value of Indian currency will fall against the US dollar, more countries will import goods from India. Second, determination of foreign exchange rate. Earlier this foreign exchange rate was determined by the government. Now it was determined by the market forces, that is the forces of demand and supply. Now some trade and investment policy reforms also took along with this liberalization or under liberalization. Dismantling of quantitative restriction on import and export. Prior to 1991, India followed a policy of quantitative restriction on import and export. It means some limit was fixed on import and export of goods. So after this liberalization, this restriction was removed. Now more and more quantity of goods were imported and exported by the industrialist or the businessman. So this liberalization basically it aimed at removal of this quantitative restriction on import and export, because this quantitative restriction on import of manufactured consumer goods and agricultural product was also fully removed from April 2001. Then reduction of tariff rates. So earlier this very high tariffs were imposed on this imports before this 1991, but later on after these reforms, tariffs on import was reduced so that the domestic trade can enhance and achieve economic growth. Then removal of licensing procedure for import. Prior to 1991, there were huge restrictions to import to obtain import license. So many formalities were done, which was very complicated to get the import license, but later on it was liberalized. Now import licensing was abolished except in case of hazardous and environmentally sensitive industries. Next reform is removal of import duty. Now earlier or prior to this 1991, there were heavy export duties imposed to encourage domestic production, but now export duties have been removed to increase the competitive position of Indian goods in the international market. So here it is mistaken. Removal of import duties, it will not be, it is removal of export duties. So be careful, that is a printing mistake here. So this is the various types of reforms under privatization. Now let us talk about what is privatization. So privatization generally refers to transfer the ownership, management and control from government sector to private sector. So let us see what policies were adopted for privatization. So first it is contraction of public sector. It means to reduce the number of public sectors. Already we have discussed, from 17 it was reduced to 3. Then abolish the government ownership of government in management of public sector enterprises. Earlier the government used to fund the public sector enterprises whether they were in loss or profit. Generally public sectors were in losses and they were funded from the budget of the government. So this was taken off now. So this ownership of government in management of public sector was abolished. And next it is sale of shares of public enterprises. The public sector enterprises which were sick or were in continuous loss, their shares were sold to the private sector. So this also promoted privatization. Now what is the reason behind privatization? Raising fund from disinvestment, because there were number of public sector enterprises which were in loss and their loss was made good from the government budget. So it was a continuous loss to the government. So by doing this investment, which means by selling the shares of public sector to private sector, government was able to raise fund. Next it is improving the financial condition of the government. Now the burden of government will also reduce now, because through privatization number of sectors will go into the hands of the private sector. So by collecting the taxes or by raising money through disinvestment, this financial condition of the government could improve. Next, bringing healthy competition within an economy. When private sector is promoted, it will lead to healthy competition in an economy. There will be more number of the private sector, and private sector used to compete with one another. Though public sector does not compete, they do not have to face any competition, but when private sectors are promoted, there will be more and more competition, or we can say healthy competition in an economy. Now, making way for foreign direct investment. So we all know that when these economic reforms were introduced, three important policies were brought together. Along with this privatization, globalization policy was also adopted. That also gave way to foreign companies to come and do investment in our country. So that also increased privatization in our country. Now let us talk about some of the positive impact of privatization. First, improve the efficiency and management. So we all know that since private sector has to face more competition, so they focused on improving the efficiency and the skill of the employees in their organization. So they used to give training to their employees from time to time, so that the efficiency of management or the employee can improve. So that was, so the quality of human or the quality of employees which were there in the private sector, that improved, and as a result the production and productivity both increased in the country. Then reduction in deficit. So let me tell about this privatization. It reduces the financial burden of the government, as it does not have to spend on non-development expenditure. Rather, by earning sufficient profits, it can support government by paying taxes. So earlier we know a lot of deficit was there. Deficit means fiscal deficit was there. Government has less revenue and more of expenditure. So when this private sector was promoted, government was able to raise their income by collecting taxes from this private sector. That resulted in reducing the fiscal deficit in the country. Next, competitiveness. So already we have discussed, because of privatization there was healthy competition within the country. Diversification of production. It means wide variety of products were produced in our country because of privatization. Many multinational companies also came to India and they started producing wide variety of goods. So there was diversification of product. Increase in foreign direct investment. Again I am repeating, along with privatization, globalization policy was also adopted. So there was increase in foreign investment in our country. Now along with positive impact, there is some negative impact also. Privatization, it neglected the social interest. The reason is private sector's main intention was to generate more and more profit by producing more and wide variety of goods. They did not had any interest in social welfare. So social interest was neglected. So we can say there was lot of pollution. There was low quality goods also produced. Next, it is high priced goods. Since the earlier the prices were fixed by the government or with the permission of government, but now the prices were fixed through the market forces, that is by demand and supply. So normally the result of it was that the prices of the goods, they started increasing, or there was inflation in the economy. Now let us talk about the third important policy of government, that is globalization. So in simple we can say globalization refers to integration of an economy. Of an economy means economy of a country to the world economy, or means to the economy of the whole world. Let me read out. Globalization may be defined as a system related to increasing interaction. Interaction means trading interaction. Primarily trading interaction will increase, growing economic interdependence and widening economic integration in the world economy. It refers to interaction of an economy with the world economy. Now, why the government planned to promote globalization in our country? Some reasons are given here. Increase in equity limit of foreign investment, or we can say some policy measures were taken by the government to implement globalization in our country. So here are some policy measures undertaken by the government for globalization. So here this foreign investment limit, which was 40% earlier, was increased to 51%. Devaluation of Indian rupees. So this also promoted many countries to purchase the good from Indian market. So already I have mentioned before, devaluation refers to lowering down of the value of Indian rupee against dollar by some government authority. So this will definitely promote more and more export. Removal on control on foreign trade. Earlier there were some restrictions over exporting goods to other countries. Government used to fix certain limits on this exporting of goods. So those restrictions were also removed. Now open competition have been encouraged. All sort of goods can be traded for some good which are of strategic importance for the for some goods which are of strategic importance to the nation. Except some goods, all other types of goods were allowed to be exported. So this restrictions were removed on this foreign trade. Reduction in tariff. So earlier this high taxes were imposed on imports as well as exports. So these all things were reduced under this process of globalization. So with this new economic policy, custom duties and tariffs which were imposed on imports and exports have been gradually decreased. Then next point, it is modification in technological agreements. This prior to 1991 there were restriction for hiring foreign technology or some foreign technicians. That means from abroad it was not allowed to hire. But after this new economic policy, all foreign collaborations concerning higher technology have been made easy by the government. So these were some policy measures adopted by government in order to promote globalization. Now since we have already discussed about all the three important policies, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization, now let us have some discussion on some positive points of LPG or these three policies. First, it is there was increase in foreign investment because globalization and privatization that promoted foreign direct investment. So there was increase in foreign investment. Second point, increase in foreign exchange rate. Again, because of increase in foreign direct investment, also increase in export of our country, the foreign exchange reserve of our country that increased. Check on inflation. Inflation is always due to lack of availability of goods in the country. So when more and more private sectors were promoted, the supply of the good increased in the country, and as a result there was check on inflation or rise in the price. Increase in growth rate of economy. So when production was more, naturally it increased in raising the GDP of our country, and as a result there was growth, there was increase in the growth rate of the economy. Next it is increase in exports, that already we have understood. Since more and more private sector were promoted in the country, so production was more. This tariff on export, that was also liberalized, so there was increase in export. Reduction in deficit and balance of payment. So deficit in balance of payment means when our payment obligations are more than what we receive from the other country. Since our export increased as compared to that of imports, so this deficit and balance of payment also reduced. So these were some of the positive points of LPG. Now there was some negative impact also. Neglect of agriculture. Neglect of agriculture means in this LPG policy the main focus was on industries. Agricultural sector was totally ignored. So no attention was given to this what we can say, this agricultural sector. Jobless growth. Now why we call though our economy was growing, though the economic growth rate was increasing, rate of growth that was increasing, but it resulted in jobless growth. The reason is the private sector, they started adopting the technology, it means the machines, and so many employees or the industries which were labor intensive, they were converted into machine intensive. So many employees, they were removed from the job. So that is why we call this as the jobless economy. That is one of the point. Now increase in income inequalities, the gap between rich and poor, that kept on increasing. The private sector or the business houses which were growing, so they were allowed to do more production, they were allowed to expand more, so they continued to generate more and more income. And since there was no much attention given to the agricultural sector, and large number of population of our country was dependent on agriculture, so their income it lowered down, and the income of the people, those who were engaged in industry, that kept on increasing. So there was gap between rich and poor. Adverse effect of disinvestment policy. So number of public sector, they went into the hands of the private sector, and the objective of private sector, it is to maximize more and more profit rather than to give attention towards public welfare. Now next it is spread of consumerism. Now we have talked about one point earlier, diversification of production. It means wide variety of products were introduced in our country. So there was a spread of consumer, means whatever the consumer demanded in the economy, those goods were made available to the consumer, whether it was good for the society or not. Next point is given here, ineffectiveness of fiscal policy. So this fiscal policy, already we have discussed earlier, that fiscal policy refers to the government revenue and expenditure. So this policy was ineffective. Ineffective means the government could not raise that much amount of revenue which it required for the public welfare or for the development activities. Then low level of industrial growth. Though LPG mainly focused on industry, but the industrial growth, it was there, but it was not as per the expectation. The rate of industrial growth was less as expected when this policy was introduced in the country. So this is all about liberalization, privatization and globalization. finally here we have to discuss about World Trade Organization. So let me read it out. We all know it is a very famous organization which helps in the carrying on of this trading activities among various nations. So earlier this World Trade Organization was named as GATT, General Agreement on Trade and Tariff, so which was replaced with the World Trade Organization in the year 1948 with 23 member countries. Now let us talk about some of the important objectives of this World Trade Organization. So first it is administering WTO trade agreements, acting as a forum for trade negotiation, settling and handling trade disputes among various nations. So that was one of the function performed by World Trade Organization, to administer and to negotiate the trade agreements and to settle down if there is any trading dispute between or among the various nations. Second, monitoring and reviewing national trade policies. So WTO kept on monitoring the trading policies of various countries, and it tried to make these policies liberal so that these trading activities among various nations can be carried on very smoothly. Assist the member countries in trade policies through technical assistance and training programs. From time to time WTO arranges some programs for these member countries so that these trading activities can be done very smoothly among the countries. Technical assistance and training for developing countries. Again it is repeated the same way. WTO used to give technical assistance, means what type of technology has to be adopted by the various countries or how the technology can be enhanced. So that assistance was given by WTO, and also the training for the developing countries, and cooperation with other international organizations so that this world trade can go on very smoothly without any chaos and confusion. So this is all about World Trade Organization. Students, you go through the textbook also. Here in short I have explained you all the things. In detail you refer the textbook also. Since we have limited time, I have to go little faster in these slides. So some assignment I am giving from this chapter. First question is explain the meaning of economic reforms and also write the reasons behind economic reforms in India. Second, what is liberalization? Explain the reforms under liberalization. Third question, what is privatization? Explain the positive impact of privatization. Fourth question, what is globalization? Explain the policy measures adopted for globalization. And finally, fifth question, write a short note on World Trade Organization. With this I have come to end of this presentation. Thank you very much. Have good day. Take care of yourself. Thank you.